Hello, future Griffins, and welcome to the Living on Campus session. We're just going to give everybody a couple minutes or 1 minute to hop on, and we will get going shortly. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope that you have been having a great day attending various sessions as part of our virtual Campus Day open house. And it's great that you have landed in the Living on Campus session with us this afternoon as well. I would like to start by introducing Leanne Karen. She is the Manager, Admissions and Marketing, and she, as well as her amazing team from Housing Services, will be telling you all the amazing things about living on campus for the session for the next 45 minutes. Leanne, take it away.
Great, thank you, Michelle, and welcome everyone. What a beautiful, at least the sun is shining where I am. I don't know what part of the world all of our viewers are at, but it would be a beautiful day to welcome everyone to campus. And speaking of campus, I do want to acknowledge that the residences and the campus of the University of Guelph are located on Treaty 3 territory of the Attawandaron and Haudenosaunee people, and that we have a long tradition of the Dish with One Spoon covenant to share the land. And we acknowledge our First Nations, and as part of our role at the University of Guelph, want to acknowledge the land upon which we reside, live, learn, and play. And speaking of living on campus, we believe is part of a full University of Guelph Griffin experience. About 85% of all of our students live on campus during their first year as a Griffin. And we have an amazing team here to support you. And so we're going to have a presentation where we describe all of those supports and all of the great reasons and how to apply to campus. And during the entire presentation, feel free to start putting your Q&A. You don't have to wait until the end of the presentation to put your questions in the Q&A box, because we have an amazing team of people both from admissions and from team housing here to answer your questions while I'm busy talking. That amazing group of people includes two amazing residence life management team members, Stuart and Sophia, who you will meet a little bit later. They are full-time professional staff here to support you. We have Alex, our multimedia assistant, as well as a residence assistant here on campus, who is living in residence as we speak and coming to you live from his residence room. And we have two amazing housing team members who are here Monday to Friday, helping you with your live chats and phone calls and doing room assignments and everything else that needs to be done to make your experience and your application process smooth. And that is Allison and Lorianne from Team Housing. So those are the faces behind our chats. So ask away, there's no stupid questions. But first, let's start with a little bit about residence, and I will run through that information. As I said, about 85% of all of our first-year Griffins live on campus. We try to create a very home-like atmosphere. We know for many of you, leaving home for the first time and going away to university brings with it all sorts of challenges, but also joys and benefits. So let's talk about what we have to offer. We have over 2,800 single rooms. So in Ontario, one of the highest single room ratios of Ontario campuses in 12 different residence communities. And I'll describe those in a little bit more detail coming up. 5 living learning communities. And you're probably thinking, what's a living learning community and how is it different from residence? Well, we'll tell you all about that here as well. 4 full service dining halls. When you're living on campus, the meal plan is one of the benefits of living here on campus, the convenience and just the amazing food that we have to offer. We'll tell you more about that. 150 residence life staff. And by residence life staff, I mean residence assistants, program facilitators, cluster leaders. Those are student peer positions who are here to support you academically and personally as you make your journey into post-secondary education. And we're very, very proud. In 2021, it's something we really work hard to get that ranking, and it's starting to show. So wonderful. Thank you to Maclean's. We were voted #1 for residents living in their university's edition this past year. So why live on campus? I mean, you probably heard from siblings, teachers, friends that one of the #1 reasons why they have lived on campus is to meet new people, coming to a new city, or even if you're living in Guelph, coming to campus and meeting new people, networking, and creating those social relationships in your program and outside of your program that are going to last you beyond 4 years. I love hearing stories of alumni who come back and they are still best friends with the person they met that first day, that first week when they lived in residence on campus. But you're also, moving away from home and all the independence that comes with that, and having that support. So having a 24-hour desk available if you lock yourself out of your room, or something's not working in your room, or you need help with something, having residence life support, just having that support at the same time as all that independence is happening in that first year. I cannot overestimate or understate the convenience. Literally, you can wake up at 8:25 and be in a classroom at 8:30, depending on where your class is. Everything is within a 5 to 7 minute walk from campus, some even only 3 minutes to get from your residence room to your campus residence or to your campus class, and being able to eat meals and grab a coffee on the way the convenience it cannot be overstated. Campus community connections, and what we mean by that is the clubs, the societies, the extracurriculars, the intramurals, the volunteer opportunities, all of the things that students do to make campus life more enriched. We have studies that show that students who are living in residence are more likely to participate in campus and volunteer activities on campus when they're living in residence. And of course, the reason you're here really is your academic success. So we, again, have studies that show that students living in academic clusters and participating in our academic support programs in residence are performing at a higher academic level than their off-campus counterparts. So we really emphasize that your academic success is enhanced when living on campus. So those are all the whys of why you should live on campus. Let's talk a little bit more about the wheres, because it's a big campus and we haven't been able to offer in-person tours of our residences. So if you've explored our website, you know a little bit about the residences that we have to offer, but we'll describe them in a little bit more detail. So our communities consist of 3 different styles of residence, and styles just means the way residences are laid out. We have what we call our traditional residences, and those are, you have a single, a double, or a multi-occupancy room, and that is your share, that is your space. You close your door and you've got a desk and a dresser and a wardrobe and a chair and a light and a bed. But you're sharing your common area and your washroom, communal washroom, with your floor or with your hall or with a larger group of people who are all sharing those facilities. Our suite style is a single or a double room, but you're only sharing the common amenities, the washroom and the living area, and in this case, a kitchen or a kitchenette. You're sharing that with a small group of people inside your suite. So you're not sharing it with a whole building or a whole floor. And we have our townhouse, which is exactly what it sounds like. They are 4 bedroom townhouses where you, on the main floor, have a kitchen, a living room, a dining room, and then on the second and third floor you have a 2-bedroom and a washroom, and a 2 bedrooms and a washroom. So your washroom ratio is 2 to 1. Our townhouses are air conditioned and have central vacuum and have a patio door that leads out to a little bit of green space at the back. So those are our East Village townhouses, and they're very popular for those who prefer a little bit more independent living, because with the townhouses, you're not required to have the meal plan. You can absolutely have the meal plan. We encourage you to have a meal plan or a partial meal plan for convenience, but you have full cooking facilities in our East Village townhouses and our East apartment suites. Again, all of them are 5 to 7 minute walk. You can see from this map where the residences are located, and the big open green space in the center is Johnston Green. It's like the heart of campus, the center, and your classrooms are all very close to there. So you can see that all residences are very convenient to the center of campus. There isn't one residence that is specific for, if you're in science, you need to live here, or you're in engineering, you want to be close to a certain building, because your classes are going to be all over campus. Your classes are going to be in classroom complexes that could be at any part of the campus. So there isn't one residence specific for your program. So we've talked a little bit about the different communities and the different styles of buildings. So I'm going to do a brief overview of a typical, the different room types. So we do have mostly single rooms, but we also have double rooms, we have triple rooms, we have some quad rooms, we have some apartments. If you need a special accommodation for a very particular medical reason, you can fill in a special accommodation form, which is located on our website, which I'll repeat a few times. It's housing.uofguelph.ca. So if you have a medical need for mobility, or you visually or hearing impaired, or you require specific accommodations, you fill out a form with documentation, and then we look at what we have available to meet your needs. And we have a great success rate at meeting the needs of our students who require accommodations. Every room has a standard twin bed, a wardrobe, desk, chair, lamp, storage space, and unlimited laundry. It's included in your residence fee. You're also included is unlimited Wi-Fi, so you don't have hydro heating bills on top. It's all included in your residence fee, and that unlimited Wi-Fi in your room, in all common areas, and throughout the campus. So you can do your homework and your assignments anywhere you want. So I'm going to turn this over to Alex, and we'll describe a little bit more now that you know what our different residence buildings are and what rooms we have in our residences. Alex is going to tell you a little bit about what more we have to offer. Over to you, Alex.
Yes, hello everyone, good afternoon. As Leanne said, my name is Alex, and I'm actually coming to you from one of our East Village townhouse rooms. I work as a residence assistant there. And yeah, something that we offer within our residences is lots of ways to customize your experience to make it work for you. And two of those options that we have are academic clusters and living learning communities. So I'll walk through each of those, and then you can also explore them on our website too if you want more information. But basically, academic clusters are designed for you to be living with students who are in the same program as you. So it's a really unique opportunity if you want to be surrounded by people, who are taking the same courses, who are probably going through the same midterms at the same time, working on similar assignments. It makes it really easy for you to collaborate with others, get to know people in your classes, and then that translates back into your life beyond the classroom, which is really cool. Our academic clusters also have a cluster leader with each of them, and their role is specific to academics, and it's to design programming that works for you within your courses. So if there's a midterm coming up, they might have something to help you study. If there's a big assignment, they might organize study sessions for you to work together with other people. And they're also someone where you can just go to if you have an issue with academics, and they can help support you and direct you to the right resources. They also run what's called academic drop-in centers, which we offer across campus. You don't need to be in a cluster to participate in these, but each night is a different theme, and you can go and get help on a specific course. If you're struggling or if you have questions, they can guide you through that. We also offer clusters for all of our programs. We don't have the specific locations listed anywhere. Those are still to be determined, and they can change every year. But we do offer one for every single program. So when you apply, you can select that as a preference, which Leanne will talk about in a little bit. But that's definitely an option for you if you want to be with people who are very similar in their academic lifestyle. Some people choose to go the other way, where they want to live with this really diverse group of people in a variety of programs, broaden your horizons, and that can be great too. So you really need to decide what works best for you. The other option is living learning communities, which you can choose if you'd like. And unlike academic clusters, these are not based on your program, and they're specifically related to common interests or goals you may have, or certain people that you're hoping to get to know better. So we offer 5 of these different living learning communities, which are Arts House. So again, more of those artsy activities and working with more artistic people. Eco House, if you're passionate about the environment and want to take on some initiatives in learning associate stick with that. We have Indigenous House if you're interested in Indigenous culture and want to learn more, or you identify as Indigenous and want to live with other people. We have La Maison Française, which is a great opportunity if you're hoping to learn French, or you already know French and you want to enhance those skills, or you're in a French program and you want to really develop those outside of the classroom. And we also have International House, which is a great spot if you are an international student and want to get to know others who may have similar stories or experiences, or maybe struggling with the same things as you transition to life on campus, or also if you're just interested in diversity and culture and want to learn more about all those things on a global scale. It's a really cool opportunity. And living learning communities are ran by a program facilitator, somewhat similar to a cluster leader, except they are specific to the programming around those interests. So every week they will organize something for you to do as a community, whether it's team bonding, bringing in a guest speaker, doing a workshop, doing some sort of learning. So again, both of these options are optional. You don't have to add them to your application. You could do none if you wanted to, but they are opportunities to enhance your experience should you choose to. And then the next thing I want to talk about is food, because I couldn't go throughout this entire presentation without mentioning it, because it's a really big part of the residence experience. And I know for so many people, it's why living in residence is so popular at the University of Guelph. So for over 10 years, U of G has been ranked #1 for campus food in Canada. We're known for our agricultural roots, and I think that shines through in what we offer in our food services. And I mean, just look at those pictures. That's just a little snapshot of the food you can get. And there's also so much diversity in the food that we offer across campus, whether it be timing that you're looking for. If you want to get a late night snack, we have options. If you want something that's a little fancier in the day, we have Creelman Hall, which might offer that. And also just a diversity in food. Our chefs are always creating something new and unique. And there's so much diversity in the food. So you can truly travel the world some days with all the different flavors that they're offering. So you don't want to miss out on that. Hospitality did offer a session earlier today that was recorded if you want to get more of those details. And you can also visit Hospitality's website to learn more about the meal plan specifics that are associated with residents. And then from there, we are here for you. We don't just get you into residence and then say good luck. We stand by you the entire time. We have an entire team, as Leanne mentioned, of 150 plus staff who are here to support you specifically and really get to know you in residence. So the first one is residence assistants, which are people like myself. We live in residence with you. So I live in a townhouse right now, and I have 3 other first-year students that I live with. And our goal is really to get to know you, to make sure that you're thriving during your time at the University of Guelph, help if you have conflict with your floor or your roommates or anything like that, and also organize programming for you to get to know other people in residence. That can be, we deliver care packages, we run a games night, those types of fun things, because residence is more than just academics at the end of the day. We also have residence life managers, which include Stuart and Sophia, who are on this call and will speak in a little bit, but they're people who first and foremost support the residence assistants, people like me, as well as the other residence life staff, to make sure we're meeting all of your needs in residence. So if there's any problems with noise or, with our residence community living standards, with, behavior, any issues like that, they're there to support people like me as we support you in residence. And also with things like if you need to request a transfer for whatever reason, you have specific issues, they're the backbone behind how we serve you. We also have Interhall Council, which is a group of resident students. It's ran by resident students. And their goal, again, is to enhance your experience in residence by offering programming and involvement opportunities. So they're known to run games nights. They have formals in the fall and winter semesters for you to just socialize with people. They do advocacy work in residence and so much more than that. There's lots of opportunities for you as a first year to get involved with that too. If you're looking for a way to get involved specifically in residence, we offer that there. We also have Orientation Week, which is a really important part of your residence experience. And it's a really unique opportunity where basically every one of these 4,000-ish students that we have in residence, you probably don't know anyone or very few people. So Orientation Week is this really cool time where you're meeting all these people who are also looking to make friends and make connections. And it might be one of the only times in your life where you're placed in that specific scenario where everyone is just trying to make friends. So it's really cool. We offer programming. Our residence life staff are there throughout the whole week. And it's this really unique opportunity that you'll look forward to. We also have community building and programming, which is done throughout throughout the entire year. We have a residence programming office, which are staff specifically there to run programming, which is done throughout residence. So for example, we have a residence intramural league that we run. We do Take a Pause, where you can pause from your studying and get to spend some time with guide dogs and different dogs to, relieve some of that stress. And then finally, we're always connected with campus resources. So believe it or not, I might not know everything as a residence assistant, but I probably know someone who will have an answer for you. So we often do referrals to help you with support, whether it's through mental health and wellness, whether you're looking for connections to athletics, if you're looking, to get help with employment opportunities through the Experiential Learning Hub. All those different groups on campus we have connections to, and will help you get involved and make sure you're in the places you need to be so that you really are living your best life during your time in residence. And from there, I will pass it back to Leanne.
Thanks, Alex. And I love it when you do this session, because I'm often reminded when I walk through residence, because our offices are located in one of the residence buildings, how many things are all going on at the same time. Everything from like make your own smoothie night and movie nights and yoga and just there's never a time when there aren't posters up with things going on. And I'm sure that at 4 o'clock today, there's going to be World Cup qualifier viewing in all of the lounges. Just there's always something going on. So thanks for highlighting that from your experience as a student living in residence. Okay, let's talk about roommates and suite mates, because once you've arrived and you've gone through orientation and you're going through all of these things, you might be thinking, who am I living with? And the great news is, if you apply for a single room, your chances of getting a single room are fairly high. Depends on how, not everybody will, just because everything's a lottery and it'll depend on how well you do in the lottery. But if you are looking for a double room with someone that you can absolutely put them on your application form. So that is done after June the 1st. So the June 1st deadline comes and goes. If you've paid your deposit and applied on time, we invite every on-time applicant to then go back into the housing portal and add a roommate or roommates or suite mates onto their application. We encourage you to think about that ahead of time. So if there is someone that you want to live with, it's a good idea to talk to them in advance, talk about those issues of compatibility, and talk about what residence environment you want to live in, because it really helps if you all put your same choices on your application form and that you request each other, because we often have situations where a roommate will ask for someone they know and their best friend doesn't ask for them in return, and we don't put you together because we make the assumption that maybe your best friend doesn't really want to live with you. So you both need to ask for each other, and it really helps if you put the same choices down so that we know where it is that you both want to live. If you don't know anyone coming to the University of Guelph, not a problem either, because we ask you some questions about your lifestyle on your application form. They're the kind of questions that usually could result in roommate conflicts and compatibility issues. So we don't ask you your favorite color and your dog's name. We ask you, what time do you get up in the morning, and do you study late at night? And are you a really neat person, or are you a little more freestyle? And those are the questions we've found are really important for compatibility for roommates. And then we use those to match you with a roommate or a suite mate. And hopefully you'll make great friends for life using our compatibility measures. So again, if you want more information about that, just go to our website, housing.uguelph.ca. I also wanted to throw in some information here about COVID, because obviously that has ruled all of our lives for the last 2 years. And we have had to, I know everybody hates the word pivot, but we've pivoted several times over the last 2 years, so much that we're probably a little dizzy. Right now, as of May 1st, the university has lifted the mask mandate and lifted the vaccine requirement. We don't know yet what fall will bring, because we don't know what's around the corner in the province of Ontario and what our public health departments are going to be mandating, but we do follow their advice. Right now, fall looks like we're going to be having full residences. We have our student health services on campus, so vaccines and boosters are available. We have vaccine clinics right here on campus for your convenience. We have enhanced cleaning in all of our common spaces in residence, and we have residence life staff support. So if you're feeling isolated, you're feeling anxious, if you're doing part hybrid classes, or and you know you're worried about social interaction, we have amazing residence life staff to support you through that. So now let's get a little bit to the technicalities, because I see that there's lots of questions in the Q&A about what do I do and how do I apply? Well, number one, if you have your offer of admission in your hands, accept your offer. So once you've accepted your offer, you can go to our housing portal, and you'll get a congratulations package from the Office of Admissions, and you can follow the instructions in the offer of admission. The first thing it'll direct you to do is to go to housing.uofguelph.ca, and right on that main page of our website, you'll see a link to the housing portal that's going to take you to your application. The application is a very guided process. So every step of the application, you're going to see little check marks. You're going to follow links that are going to take you to the information you need to know to fill out each section of the application. We have a how-to video on our how to apply, where some of our virtual ambassadors will walk you through applying to let you know that it's actually a very easy process. And when you're all done and you hit submit, you'll go, wow, that was easier than I thought. The important thing is June 1st. So you need to pay your deposit and complete your application by June 1st. That's the magical date. That's the date that's absolutely essential, because everyone who applies by that date will have first priority for residence. And I'm really happy to say that we've never had a year where we have not been able to accommodate every on-time first-year applicant. So we expect to be able to do the same again this year. Residence tours. As you are filling out your application, we are going to ask you a question about what your preferences are. And we encourage you to do some residence tours before you answer that question. So we have lots of different ways for you to do that. We have online 360 video tours. So if you're the kind of person that wants to look in a closet and under a bed and look all around a room, you can use the 360 tours to zoom in. We have video narrated room tours. I'm going to show you one of those. We also have floor plans, and we have campus tours happening right now. We have 2 sample residences with vacant rooms available. But if you want to see all of the residences, I would recommend coming to our spring academic open houses, or throughout the summer. We do have more of our residences open for tours in the summer. And so you can get a flavor of each different type of residence room. When you fill out your application, you'll also be asked what your priority is in terms of not just ranking your residence buildings, but room type and living, learning, and academic clusters. So if it's really, really important for you that you have a single room, you're going to put room type is more important than building. And if you really, really want to live in, say, East Residence Suite or East Village and be exempt from the meal plan, you're going to put those as your choices, and then you're going to tell us that your residence building is more important. The lottery, knowing how the lottery works might help you understand a little bit more how to fill out your application. So in basic terms, what happens is, say on June the 1st, we have 4,000 applicants. On June the 2nd or thereabouts, all of those 4,000 applicants will be given a randomly generated lottery number. So if you are number 1 on the lottery, we go to your application and we see that you wanted a South double, you get assigned to a South double. We go to number 2 and you wanted a Johnston single, so we assign you to a Johnston single. And there does come a point in time in the lottery process and the assignment process where we don't have your first choice anymore. So we're going to go to your second choice. And there will also come a time in the lottery where we don't have your first choice or your second choice, and we'll go to your third choice, and so on. So it's important to have a variety of options there for us in the preferences on your application. If we get to we don't have any of your building choices, we will go and see what kind of room you asked for. So if you asked asked for a single, but we don't have a single in any of the buildings you gave us, then we'll at least go to any other building and look for a single for you. So it's really important to fill those out so that we know exactly what your preferences are. We have a great assignment success rate in that over 80% of students will get one of their first choices. Not everybody gets their first choice. I always say there's 4 things that will determine whether you get your first choice. Number 1 is your lottery number. Number 2 is, what is it that you asked for? Because if you asked for something that's really popular. Number 3 is, how many of that thing do we have? So if we only have 2 one-bedroom apartments, your chances of getting them are not very good. But if we have 500 of them, your chances are much better. And then the 4th criteria is, how many other people asked for the same thing. So again, there's just too many moving parts in a lottery for us to ever be able to say your chances of getting this are X percentage, because the variables change every year and your situation will be unique. We often get asked, what's the best residence, or what residence should I apply for, or what's my best chance of getting into a certain residence? And the answer to that question is, the best residence is going to be the one that you live in, because since most of our residences are first-year students, the culture and the climate and the vibe of every residence is different every year. And there's something different for everyone. So, many students prefer a much more modern building, our high rises, Glengarry Hall or Lennox and Addington Hall. And some of our students prefer the older ivy covered kind of traditional wood paneling residences like Mills or Johnston or Watson. So there's a residence for you, is what is the key message to take away from today. So we encourage you to do those tours to get a flavor for that. When you leave here today, we want all of your questions answered. So again, start loading up that Q&A. However, if you finish this session and you didn't get your question answered, or you think of something that came out of a previous question, you can always reach out to us by email. We have a live chat Monday through Friday on business hours, and we have good old-fashioned telephone as well. Lots of other ways to stay in touch with us. Over to Alex to let you know what the best way to keep on top of what we're doing.
Yeah, of course. And sometimes you may have a question that you didn't even know you had. And that's why our social media is so great, because we'll answer those things that you might be like, oh, I never even thought of that, or that's a really good point. So I would definitely encourage you to follow us on social media. The primary platform we use is Instagram at U of G Housing. We actually have a team of virtual residence ambassadors this semester who have been helping to document their journey in residence and, some of the aspects that are important to them or that they love about living in residence. And we're excited to continue that flavor over the summer. So keep following. You might see my face more there as well. I don't know if that's a selling point or not, but there you go. We also have TikTok, which is really exciting, and it's not listed there. The handle is the same as the Twitter at UofG_housing. We'd love to connect with you on any of these platforms. You can also reach out and ask questions there. If you have a random one-off question, we're happy to guide you to the right direction as well from there. So give us a follow, watch us throughout the summer. We also do some fun giveaways and contests leading up to move-in. So you can get excited for all those things. And yeah, you can really see what residence is like for students who are there now, and then what to expect in the future when you move in.
Great, thanks, Alex. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to go back to speaker view so everyone can see some of the other faces who are going to answer questions. I see that there's quite a few questions about what you're allowed to bring to residence. And I know that Stuart's lived in just about every one of our residences, in our traditional residences, in our East Village, in our suites. And so everyone brings different things to different residences. So I'm going to throw it over to Stuart. If you want to introduce yourself as well, Stu, and just answer the question about what to bring, and more importantly, what not to bring.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. So hi, everyone. My name is Stuart. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm one of the residence life managers here on campus. And so I've been on campus working for Student Housing Services for quite a few years now, coming up on 7 years. So I professionally work here and support all of our student staff, as well as students living in a specific residence building. And as Leanne mentioned, I've seen quite the gambit of our residences. I have managed a hall in South, I've managed Lennox Addington, I've managed the townhouses in East, as well as the East residence suites currently. So I've seen quite a wide variety from our traditional styles to our suite styles. And so the biggest piece is that in terms of items that you want to bring to decorate for your rooms, please bring those decorations and make your room and your suite or your common space your home. This is going to be your space for the next 8 months. And we want you to feel as much as comfortable and at home as possible. And so there are a few things listed in our residence community living standards that is available on housing.uofguelph.ca that list out some things that are not permitted in residence. And the residence community living standards is there to help not only just keep you all safe within our building, but also being respectful of others while living in the space as well. And so I know I've answered quite a few questions around some appliances. So people asking if they can bring microwaves, if they can bring coffee makers. The answer is yes, you can bring those small appliances. We just ask that you do not use those appliances within your own personal bedrooms in residence, just for fire safety reasons. So there are designated areas like the kitchenettes or the common kitchens in each residence area that you can use those items. The bedrooms are not permitted to be able to use those items because of fire safety. On the topic of fire safety, candles are not permitted within residence either for fire safety reasons. But if there are any individuals who do need candles for religious purposes, we do ask you that you do reach out to your residence life manager like myself to be able to talk about what those religious purposes are to be able to accommodate those needs. And we'll work with you one-on-one on those individual bases to be able to come up with an understanding and agreement for those specific situations and work with our fire safety officers on campus. Other items, you can bring mini fridges. The big piece as well, I know there are some changes with, as time progresses, I've seen new items get introduced into the mix of things people pack, such as hoverboards, as well as LED lights to hang up in their room. You're more than welcome to bring hoverboards as well as those LED lights, but we just ask that you do not use those hoverboards in residence for safety reasons. As well with the LED lights, we just ask you for any decorations to hang them up with sticky tabs or 3M hooks, just to avoid any damages within our spaces. And so we do have sticky tabs available at our residence desks for students if you'd like to hang up any decorations. But I mainly name the LED lights from TikTok, for example, just because those adhesives that they do come with are very strong and they actually strip the paint off of our walls. So any damages are your responsibility. So just to avoid some of those costs, we ask that you use those sticky tapes.
Great. Thanks, Stuart. That's a really comprehensive list of what to expect when you get into residence. One of the questions I'm seeing a lot of are about cooking meals versus getting the meal plan. What should I do if I want to cook some meals? So Alex, you've eaten on the meal plan, but you're also living in East Village. So what are the benefits of applying to a residence with a kitchen versus eating all your meals at our amazing dining halls?
Yeah, and it's a great question. And it's funny that you reminded me that I have a kitchen because I'm always so busy that I don't do a lot of cooking in my residence. But that's okay because you might be in the same scenario. But it's also awesome to have, in that one-off case where you want to cook a meal, you want to do something more social with friends, you have that option. I would encourage everyone, now it is optional when you live in a residence that's in East where you have a kitchen to get the meal plan, but I'd really encourage you to get a meal plan of some kind, even if it's a partial one, because first of all, you're just going to want to eat on campus. That's the reality of it. The food is so good, but there's also those options for you to cook in your residence should you choose. I know I have friends who, for like cultural and religious reasons, they want to cook their own meals. That's really popular, and that's definitely an option for you if you want to do that. But then at the same time, you can also go out onto campus campus and do that. So it really just offers ultimate flexibility when you have your own kitchen that way. One question that we've received before too is around dietary restrictions and can hospitality accommodate those so that I have food to eat? Some people, if they have really niche dietary restrictions, like to have the kitchen just so that they have that extra security, or for whatever reason they can do that. But our chefs are also very accommodating to those types of needs. So they can help you with that if you reach out to them. You can also ask them about a specific dietary concern and how they're able to accommodate it. You can reach out to hospitality to do that. But at the same time, there's always options across campus. If you're vegan in the UC Chefs Hall, for example, there's actually a specific restaurant that has just vegan food that you can choose from. If you're gluten-free, there's options across campus and all those different dietary restrictions. Really, there's enough flexibility within residence and on campus that you'll find the food that you want to eat with the flexibility of how you make it or where you get it. So it ultimately comes down to your needs, and you can think about that when you're choosing which residence you'd like to live in.
Thanks, Alex. Quite a few questions about how clusters work. So I'm going to queue up Sophia. I know, there's advantages and disadvantages to living in a cluster. I mean, one of the advantages is you're living, with students in the same program. So you've always got notes and study groups and a cluster leader who's in the same program. But the downside is that you're only living with students in the same program. So when you're all stressed and you all have exams, you don't have that outside balance of students and other programs all around you. So can you talk a little bit, Sophie, about what to expect from a cluster versus living in an area without a cluster, and that we have program areas for we have a cluster for every single program.
Yeah, my name is Sophia and I'm the Assistant Residence Life Manager with Prairie. And in terms of living in a cluster, you would typically live in a community with other students in your program, and you would still have a resident assistant, but in addition, you would have a cluster leader. So they're an older student who is in your program and they provide programming for you. So that might be study nights or mock midterms and things like that. In terms of pros and cons, a lot of students find that their grades improve living in the cluster because they can study with other people, and that's just nice having an experience where they can relate to others. And it is still possible to meet other people in other programs if you don't live in a cluster, because typically a cluster is located in a building with tons of other programs. And yeah, in terms of anything else related to clusters, just be aware that even if you don't live in a cluster, we still have academic programming available on campus, whether that's supported learning groups in the library or our cluster leaders run events for students who aren't in clusters. So either way, you'll find an option that works for you.
Thanks, Sophia. There's a few questions about noise and quiet. So I have a quick question for Stuart as we wind down our Q&A. We do have study intensive areas in 2 different residence communities, in the East area and the North area, so that if you want a really quiet learning and living environment, you can apply for study intensive on your application. And what that means is that there's additional quiet hours, and everyone in that area has agreed to those restrictive quiet hours. But noise during other times in all of our other residences. Stuart, can you talk a little bit about the community living standards, noisy times, quiet times during exams? What can people expect if they're experiencing that challenge?
Of course, yeah. So with our residence community living standards, we refer to it as RCLS for short, but it is all posted on our housing website for you to take a look at. And it's a comprehensive list of all of our residence policies that students agree to when they do sign to live into residence. And part of the policies do indicate quiet hours. And so as Leanne mentioned, our study intensive areas do have extended quiet hours that everyone does agree upon. But the general quiet hours for all of our residences are standard for throughout the year. So from Sunday to Thursday, quiet hours start at 11 p.m. so that everyone is able to get a good night's rest before classes start the next day. And then on weekends, we understand that there might be a little bit more socializing that might happen, and want to give that opportunity for students to be able to live within residence. And so with our Fridays and Saturdays, our quiet hours start at 1 a.m. But we do still have courteous hours. And that means is that if there is any noise that doesn't fall within quiet hours, let's say 2 p.m., but you're blasting some noise from a stereo with some loud bass, it is disrespectful to the other students who might be living in that area. So it is still being mindful of what kind of impact those behaviors are having. And so if there are any instances where there might be a situation where you might be impacted in terms of your sleep or your study, that you do have that right and space to within residence, you can always contact our residence desks for residents, RAs on call to be able to respond to those situations. And then they'll be able to respond to the situations, make sure that those situations are clarified and make sure that they're addressed. And then that way for myself, that I can also follow up with individuals who are involved in situations that might violate our RCLS, to be able to talk about those expectations and hold those individuals accountable to be able to move forward positively in residence.
Great. Thanks, Stuart. I can't believe that 45 minutes have passed already, and we've covered a lot of ground. And certainly there's still a few questions that we're answering on the Q&A, so we'll stick around and finish up the last of those questions. But if there's anything additional that you didn't get out of this session, feel free to contact us, housing@uofguelph.ca, really easy email address to remember. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle to talk maybe about where to go from here. And our spring academic open houses and how to get a copy of the recording. Thanks, Michelle, for moderating us today.
No problem. Thank you to our amazing housing team for doing these sessions today as part of Virtual Campus Day. And thank you to all of you for tuning in. We are getting some questions about how you can see our amazing residence buildings in person. So the way to do that is to book an in-person campus tour. And I did pop that booking link in the chat section. So tours will run until April the 8th, and then we take a short break while our students are in exams. But our spring summer tours will begin on May the 2nd, and they'll run all the way until August. So you have lots of time to come and do a tour of campus. They do run pretty much 6 days a week, 2 times a day. So you can book a date and time that works for you. Typically in the spring and summer, there would be about 2 different residence options shown on tour. But if you were wanting to see even more variety, a great day to come visit would be during our spring academic open house days. And those are going to be the week of May the 16th. You would choose the day that corresponds to the program that you've applied to. And then typically a variety of different residences are open for you to tour. So keep an eye on the admissions website for more details coming to you about that and an invitation to that as well. So that would be a really great day to actually see firsthand the different residence options we have on campus. So with that, we are at time. We will remain on to finish up those last minute questions in the Q&A. But once again, heartfelt thanks to Leanne and the residence team for providing this very informative session. And a huge thank you to all of you for spending some of your Sunday with us to attend Virtual Campus Day. I hope that you got to see all of the reasons why living and learning at the University of Guelph truly is an amazing experience. And we hope to see you on campus soon, future Griffins. Take care.